All right, hello everybody. Welcome back to another video. I'm your host, the Blind Guy, and today we're going to be talking about how video games or fighting games are bad video games. And I've seen this debate going around for a little bit now. FeedEx made a video about an article made by WePix, who has done a lot of stuff for the Tekken community. He has made like the Wavy Wiki and a bunch of other sites for Tekken that is kind of bringing it up to how pretty much all the other big fighting games have it, mainly Street Fighter, on their websites and stuff like that, and like an actual elo system for ranked and a whole bunch of other stuff. But either way, he in that article he detailed how fighting games aren't really good video games in terms of like you buy a fighting game and it's mainly selling you almost on like an arcade package. Like you get the arcade ladder, like for single player content, you get like arcade ladder, mission levels, like to combo trials for your character, and maybe a story mode, and that's really about it. And then online is just casual ranked and lobbies, and that's it. And there's no in between, and in for most fighting games, and this is why I think Mortal Kombat has done the best in terms of like fighting game sales, because Mortal Kombat for a long time has consistently had a lot of content put into it. I mean, it was the revolutionary game to have a story mode inside of its actual game. And we can go all the way back, we can go to MK9, but we can go even further back to MK Deception, where they had the Conquest mode. And the Conquest mode it still had like core Mortal Kombat mechanics in there, but it was kind of like a mix of like open world beat 'em up type controls mixed with the regular Mortal Kombat gameplay for Deception, which was really good. They had like the fight trials, you learned how to play a bunch of characters, and it told a really good story. Like I thought the story, it was decent, and then they did it again with Armageddon. I think it's a little bit like way less expansive than Deception's Conquest mode, but they did it again with Armageddon. And then MK9, or they even did it MK versus DC. They had a story mode in there too, but that was bad. But they had a story mode in there. And then, MK9 came out, and that really started the revolutionary trend of having a story mode inside of every fighting game, pretty much, at least NRS fighting game. They had the MK9 story mode, Injustice, MKX, Injustice 2, MK11, and then M1K. So not only did they have a story mode, they had a bunch of extra modes, and this could go again all the way back to Mortal Kombat Deception. And I think this is around this time, fighting games were pretty good like games to buy, because a lot of other fighting games at that time did have a bunch of other extra modes that are beloved by the fighting game community. Now, in the article, it did say that these modes weren't really like fighting game related. It was pretty much just like, hey, make a worse version of this other game and just put it into your game. So like you have like a beat 'em up mode for like Tekken. You have Tekken Force, and then it'll be like, people love Tekken Force, but it's not even like Tekken. That's just like a worse version of like Streets of Rage, and just put into Tekken, which is true, but people still like it. You know what I mean? But like, why would I play Tekken Force when Streets of Rage exists? You know what I mean? Like, that's not gonna attract new players, which is, I could see it, but also I can't at the same time, because these are things to distract you from the main fighting. Like, you don't want to fight all the time, especially in this like ever rising competitive environment and just online. Like, it gets really sweaty really fast. So I just want to cool down, play some other modes. So you have in like the older Mortal Kombat games, especially with Deception, you had like chess combat, cart combat, puzzle combat. You had a bunch of different combats, plus the conquest mode, and then the arcade ladder, right? And then MK9 and pretty much every modern NRS game since then. And even MK9, you had you didn't have as many like combat, like card combat, chess combat, puzzle combat, but you had the regular ladder, you had a tag ladder, and then you also had test your might, test your sight, and test your luck, which were all pretty fun, especially test your luck. That stuck around all the way up, I want to say, to M1K, that really had no content in there to begin with. So, but I don't remember Test Your Luck in MK11, although that was fun. But MK11 did have the Towers of Time, and the MKX also had the Living Towers, but Towers of Time was a way more expansive version of that, where the Towers of Time had the like whole scope of the thing was that it ever changed these towers, these arcade ladders that you would do, and there'll be like 4 or 5 towers you would do, and a lot of them would be BS, but you also had your own BS to use in that game with your own upgrades and stuff like that. So you would use that, and you would unlock rewards, skins, and stuff like that, which will lead into my next point: skins and customization. A lot of people like customization in their fighting games, believe it or not. I think Tekken does a really good job of this, and I thought MK11 did a pretty good job of this. And then obviously, Soul Calibur 4 and 5 have always been, like, all the Soul Calibur games have really been like really good models to follow in terms of the how customization works in fighting games. And fighting games in general haven't really had like fully fleshed out customization, kind of like how these new modern like live service games have, where they'll have a bunch of skins for a bunch of different characters. But at the same time, like with Call of Duty and Fortnite is like a third person behind over the shoulder perspective, which is cool and all for your skin, but you're only seeing the back of your skin. And in Call of Duty, you're not even seeing your skin, period. You're just seeing their hands. So you're paying like $20 just to see like a different pair of hands on your screen and like different voice lines, pretty much. And that's it. So in fighting games, your characters are front and center of the screen, which is perfect for customization and showing off your new customization. And I think Tekken 8 does a pretty good job at this too, where you could really go crazy with your customization in that game, and you can make some cool little outfits with that. But I mean, we all know that it could be better, and if it was better, people just come into the game just to do customization. I remember watching the Main Man Squeeze, which I will actually have a video on the Main Man for a little bit in a little bit. But I remember watching like a video of the Main Man Squeeze, and he was like, "Oh no, my son doesn't even like playing Tekken, but he just likes going in, making a bunch of skins, going off, and boom, that's a fun for him." I'm like, yeah, I mean it's fun. So if there was ways to make unlocking skins fun, like how you had it in Towers of Time, or a little bit like trials and stuff like that, that'd be cool. And another thing about trials is, how do you make people get good at fighting games without them having to grind? Like, make it seem like, oh, dude, I'm so bad. I got to grind to get so much better, right? Because for us fighting gamers, we're like, okay, the grind is fun. But there are other people who come into the game and, like, they're used to their point-and-click shooters, which, again, that just because a game is hard does not mean that it will do poorly. Case in point, Dark Souls. Need I say more? I mean, need I say that? One of the hardest games, period. All the Souls games, even Elden Ring. Elden Ring is just easy. No, well, okay. Elden Ring, Dark Souls. I mean, dude, those games, forget about it, right? But they are all super fun. Dark Souls, also in the Bandai Namco package. They are all super fun. They're all really good. They're all really popular. And another thing, customization in all the Souls games is, I mean, a key point in like all the games. Like, people do not get armor in those games because, like, oh no, I like my armor. Like, this is definitely the best stat. No, you just get armor to look cool. Like, if you're getting hit in that game, that's already a problem. You shouldn't need armor to begin with. So, but and people get good at those games all the time. So how do you get good at a fighting game and make it seem really fun? Because those games, I mean, they're open world games. Obviously, you don't want to explore the world, but you're going to have to get good because you can't explore much if you're dying all the time, right? And so with fighting games, how do you make them good? Well, you could set up, number one, you could have your combo drills already packed into the game. So instead of making your own drills every time you go into training mode, I think Street Fighter 6 does a really good job of this. I think Street Fighter 6 is a really good example to go with it, but at the same time, if everyone copies Street Fighter 6, we're not gonna have many good fighting games. You know what I mean? Like, Street Fighter 6 is a good starting stone, but if we just copy that and keep going, and not progress the build on what Street Fighter 6 started, then we won't get far. You know what I mean? Like, our vision of a good fighting game empire will not succeed. So, how do you make or getting good at the game fun? Well, you have the combo drills packaged in with the game. So pretty much every character has their own set of drills, punishes, whatever, for all their moves. And, you just practice. And there'll be like little like mechanical stuff like, oh, you want to do this combo, or you want to do this mechanic in the game. Let's say like Korean backdashing in Tekken, right? You want to get good at Korean backdashing. Well, there'll be a Korean backdash thing. Well, you'll just be on an infinite stage, and you just Korean backdash, Korean backdash, Korean backdash. And the faster you do it, and the better, the more accurate you do it. Every Korean backdash counts for point. The faster, give you extra point. If you do it faster, you get extra points. And then once you fail a Korean backdash, that boom ends, right? And you get a high score, and then your stuff will be put onto like a leaderboard. It'd be cool. And then same thing for if you want to get better at like learning how to throw break, or you want to learn the punishes for this character's moves with your character, right? So let's say that's like a -12 move, and you don't know, you didn't know. Okay, well, boom, you already set it out. Choose the move or choose the character, and start doing the drill, right? All of this stuff needs to be packaged into the game instead of you choose the character, find the move, do the move, record the move, then go back to your character and then start, trying to defend against that move or learn how to defend against that move. Well, in practice, it's really not that hard for most people. I mean, this is just one extra barrier to getting good at the game that they don't want to do. Right? A lot of people don't really utilize training mode to its fullest potential. So it could really be a tough learning curve for new players coming into the games who don't know, hey, I could do all this stuff. They don't know because they don't go out there and go into training mode. They just want to play the game, right? A lot of people just want to play the game. A lot of people just want to play the game. And sometimes having a little bit more visual indicators, that's why I like how in Tekken they have the new punish thing. And to show, like, look, you punish the move there, right? I think Tekken is a very good just visually learning the game, where you could just kind of just look at the game and see like, oh, that happened. Whether with some other fighting games, they're a little bit more, they're less visual with their frame data. Rather with Tekken, even though Tekken 8 it has gotten a little bit worse with knowing like, oh, that looks punishable, right? And it's not actually punishable. But with pretty much every other fighting game, you don't really get to know the frame data just by looking at the game, right? Like you just you see a move, block a move, and it's like, okay, is this punishable with this move, right? Or this like in my medium punch into whatever, right? So, I think the only other game that does that pretty well is Fatal Fury, where it'll literally be a noise, or sometimes they'll say perfect punish or perfect hit, just because you got the punish. So, it's stuff like that, little stuff like that to get the players knowing, hey, look, that's a punish. This is that. You could do your combo from here, right? And then another thing is the community. So for majority of fighting games now, there is like a little hub area you go to. So like in Street Fighter, it's the World Tour mode. In Tekken, it's the Battle Hub or Tekken Lobby. And in Mortal Kombat, it's the garbage. And so what happens is that you go into these places and it's like a virtual arcade pretty much, right? So you go into these places, go sit in the arcade cabinet and then play with other people. It's cool. It's a cool little thing, right? Some sense of community. But it's not really too fleshed out, right? It's kind of like you could still do everything from the menus in there. If you want to avoid that whole mode, you could just do everything from the menus. But like at the same time, we're not getting enough community assets in there to make it seem enticing to go in there. And also some other modes are just completely like they're in the battle hub or something, and you have to go all the way to like the beach to play like Tekken Ball or something, right? And it's like, yeah, it's cool and all, but like, why do I have to go all the way over there, right? But it's cool. I like how they do that just because it's like, hey, this is part of the mode. This is a cool mode that everyone could play. It's really fun. And you could have all these nice little modes, all of these areas they can go to, pretty much navigating the menu through a world, right? So Dragon Ball FighterZ did this perfectly in their game. And that's one thing I really liked about Dragon Ball FighterZ. I wasn't really good at that game. I just kind of pretty much pressed buttons, but it was fun. It showed you the coolest, you made your own little chibi, like Goku man from Dragon Ball, and then just walked around and played the game. And you would join your friends. The way you would literally invite your friends was by going to their lobby, and then like, oh, which session are you in? Are you lobby like A, B, or C, or like US1? I forgot how it was. But like you would just join their lobby, find like, oh, which part of the map are you on? I'm over here. Boom, create a little circle thing, and then boom, you just join. It's really simple. And then in Tekken, I mean, in pretty much all the games, it's simple, but it's a lot less like community focused, right? So you can't just join, like you can't just see people like, oh, they're fighting right now, let me join their fight, right? You can't just do that in Tekken just from the menu, right? Like you have to go into the lobby again, right? Like the battle hub and do that whole thing, rather that being the menu. And then you could have an optional menu. Pretty much what I'm saying is that we should swap the rules. So the battle hub open world arcade thing could be the main menu, and then the side menu will be just you going through the menu and just clicking like, oh, I want to play ranked match. Okay, just go into ranked, right? Um, and it would be a really cool idea to see that happen, to see these open worlds kind of fleshed out and have a little bit more community assets flipped in there. And one cool thing I did really like was the clan battles, because clans in fighting games are pretty much dead now. I mean, there's no clans. There really isn't. So it would be cool to bring back some of that community aspect back of the clan battles. And it was the main thing I really liked about that was how you could have your own little clan hub area. You could see like everyone training or see your clan members like just chilling in there. And then you could, practice against your sparring partner or whatever in your clan, just do a bunch of stuff and then do clan battles, and also have opportunities to join multiple clans, because everyone knows, I mean, pretty much, no one's really in one like specific clan. And so, you would join other clans, do clan battles, and it would be a really fun thing to do, and especially if you had your own little clan hub area, which is really, really cool in a fighting game where you could kind of sort of bring back that sort of arcade mentality where, like someone from a different arcade is like, these guys in a different arcade say they're better, let's go to their arcade, let's beat them up, or they're coming to our arcade, let's show them who's boss, right? That doesn't really exist anymore in fighting games. And the FGC has gotten really toxic, so I think this could be kind of like a detox for the FGC. Guys, let's all calm down, let's join forces, let's play some games, you know what I mean? Like, not every person has to be a pro player. Just have fun playing the game. I think the fun in fighting games now has kind of gone away from just, hey, this is a fun game to play, and this is a really cool game. And it's really deep, and it's really fun, and it brings out that sense of community from a bunch of people to, hey, I want to be the best player ever, and I want to play ranked all the time, and I want to be good. That's awesome, right? Like, that's a majority of people, they don't like losing a game, so obviously they want to get better at the game. But at the same time, getting better at the game is not as easy as a bunch of other games, or it's not as. I don't want to say any game is easy to get good in, because to get good at something, I mean, it's not easy, But to get to have that experience of getting good more fun, because a lot of games, people willingly play games and they unintentionally just get better at the game just because they play it all the time. Case in point, I want to say a bunch of shooter games, FPS games, you are getting better at the game unintentionally just because the game is fun. That's what we should start doing for fighting games, where a fighting game is fun, and therefore you're getting better at it just because you are playing the fighting game. And there are tools in the game to make it better. Same thing with all FPS games. All FPS games have a shooting range. They have a bunch of different techniques and little things built into the game to make it fun and to make you get better, if you want to get more technical about it, right? And last thing I want to leave you off here, fighting games need to be playable. By that, I mean the online mode needs to match you up with people in a timely manner and with good netcode. Simple as that. Basic stuff that should be in every game, period, if you're going to make an online game. Good online. A lot of fighting games don't have good online. It's actually it's quite disgusting to see this, where you have some games where I could be in New York and play against someone in Japan, and we will have a solid connection. But if I were to try to do that in any fighting game, forget about it, right? Even with good netcode, forget about it. Even with Tekken, one of the better ones I've found playing with their netcode, Koreans and Japanese people are having really bad connection issues. I don't know if they fixed that. And, historically, it just Koreans and Japanese have played against each other all the time. I mean, they're not really that far from each other in proximity compared to, like, someone from the East Coast of the U.S. going to Japan, connecting to someone in Japan, right? And they're just having problems. Basic stuff. So, guys, I'm just saying we should really try to fix the actual playability of our games. We should make our games more attracting towards other people, because, look, a lot of the times, the main thing that developers think the problem is, oh, the game's too hard, let's make it easier. Which, a lot of times, turns away your core fan base, and the people who come in are tourists. and they don't stick around. Even if they do like the game, there's not enough to keep them there. So they just leave and go for the next thing, right? So I don't think making the game hard or easy is the solution here. I really don't. Because a lot of the hardest fighting games, guess what? They're the best. A lot of people like MVC 2, 3, UMVC 3. A lot of people like Street Fighter 3 Third Strike. A lot of people like all these hard fighting games, right? I mean, Tekken, period, right? Like, in general, every character has a minimum of 100 moves. But people still play it. People still play them. And you want to know why? Not because, oh, the game was really easy or like it was really hard and deep game to play mechanically. Well, yeah, I mean, you're catering, like, there are fighting game players who like a really deep, methodical fighting game to play. At the same time, that is not exclusively the reason why people buy the game or why those games get popular, right? Like, those games were games that you could play and go back to and just have a good time with them. And a lot of the time, look, for me, like the arcade ladder and the mission trials, they're fine for me, right? But that's me. That the average video game Joe Schmo isn't gonna do that. So they want content, and so I think following more of an NRS format. One last thing I forgot to mention about the NRS games is you had the crypt. So you unlocking skins was super fun in that game. And unlocking skins in every fighting game should be like that, honestly, or some sort of system like that where you could kind of go into like a little area and pick out your skins. Again, if we're going back to like the hub world mechanic, you go to like a clothing store and buy your skins like that. Either way, guys, this has been it from yours truly, the Blind Guy. And let me know if you disagree, agree. What are your thoughts? Let me know. And I'll see you guys next one. Peace.